Well, the sun came out today, and apparently tomorrow it is going to rain. The next day it's going to rain. The next day it's going to rain. And it rained like crazy yesterday. There was puddles everywhere. It was ridiculous. So because I have a glorious day today, it's time to take down the Christmas decorations outside. Today we just wanted to talk a little bit about living in a trailer on the West Coast.
The Wet Coast.
Otherwise known as the Wet Coast or the Left Coast.
Sure.
Classic West Coast weather. It is pouring rain and very, very windy. Let's see if we can see these trees a bit better. There is pine cones flying around.
Actually, you can probably show the RVs at the back that are already covered and winterized.
Yeah.
And show the wind.
Yeah, I could do that.
It is very blustery.
Well, I'm just showing the big trees above the truck. You can see the covers on the storage trailers, or the trailers that are in storage, flopping around. A few minutes ago, the whole trailer just shook. Okay. Oh, our window's really, really dirty. So I just wanted to note that yes, our window is very, very dirty. And wait 5 minutes, and the sun came out, and it is no longer pouring rain. Still a little windy though. Just gonna open the door here for a second. Okay, so yeah, wait 5 minutes, and the rain is gone, and the sun has come out again, and the trees are still moving around a little bit, so it's still a little drafty.
Yeah, it's typical Vancouver weather. If you don't like it, wait 5 minutes.
So I initially wanted to call this episode, it's getting cold out there, but it's not really that cold.
We have hit the freezing mark once so far, and we're into January, so
yeah,
we've got another cold snap coming up.
Yeah, I think during the whole month of December we were pretty much, we stayed pretty much below 10 degrees Celsius, and for our American friends I'm going to insert a chart to do the math conversion. So one of the problems that we've been having is, in order to keep it warm inside, the walls are sweating. So I was talking to somebody and he said, well, it's not venting properly, especially when we cook.
Yeah, well, that's what the problem is. We're trying to find a happy medium between venting and heating. And you have to have venting for the air circulation so moisture doesn't build up in the corners and cause mold, which we have had our fair share of.
So I'll just show you. I did videotape some of the areas that we have had some problems with when there was actually mold spores starting to grow. So the areas we seem to have the most problems with is in the slides.
The bottom of the slide, right at the back of any cupboard.
You can see along the back here, against the board, there is some mold spores growing. I've got the camera underneath the oven. I managed to pull the drawer out. Didn't know if I was going to be able to do that. It's not as hard as I thought it was. So, along the back boards here, that's all mold. So, the oven sits in the slide. Gets a little moist in here. We already cleaned out the pantry not too long ago. Okay. Somehow, we got moisture going down the wall here. Oh yeah. In the closet cleaning process, I went into the back corner where I have some shoes in the very bottom, and I discovered I should have been checking there a lot sooner. So this is right above the pass-through. You can see that, okay, yes, there's some dust there, but in the back corner, there is, against the board there, there's some mold. The runners that were tucked in there, and a pair of old flip-flops that were tucked in there. Guess I'm not wearing those this summer. Didn't wear them a lot last summer, so it's not the end of the world, but yeah, so we continued the battle with dealing with moisture inside the trailer. Yeah.
That was our biggest issue. There was actually water buildup in quite a few of them because we hadn't opened the cupboard in a week or two, and it just builds.
Yeah. So one of the corners, and I was having troubles with this one. Down in the corner here where we have the dogs' water dishes. So I thought maybe the dogs were spilling water, but there was actually water on the floor. So all here where the slide sort of ends, there was just moisture beads. Actually, there's some right there right now. So I have to dry that up later today. I was blaming the dogs.
Well, that's the usual culprit.
Yeah, so their water dish is right there, but no, it's just that it's so damp outside that we were getting mold, like in the bottom of the pantry, or moisture in the bottom of the pantry underneath the oven. We don't know what's going on under the fridge.
And we're not going to.
Okay.
There is ventilation under the fridge. Directly behind the fridge, there's two vents on the backside of the slide, so that's not really a big issue, I don't believe.
And it's sealed in, so we're not getting under there. So, that being said, what did we do in regards to the keeping the trailer warm? And what did we do to keep the moisture out? Because...
Well, we didn't have a problem keeping the trailer warm. It was trying to keep the moisture off the walls and causing mold. So the first thing we did was to keep the heat in, was to install a couple of vent covers, which for the skylights and vents, I ended up getting big chunks of foam. This one here was for the skylight. I've got another one for the skylight in the bathroom above the shower. They seal real tight. These little guys here, they come up off Amazon, I believe, for about $14 each, $13, $14 each. They work great. They seal it up nice and tight. These ones here were sealed so tight that when I did eventually pull it out to check on condensation, I pulled a half a cup of water out of here, and it's foam. So I don't know how it was sitting up there, because it was pretty tightly sealed, and it did not absorb into the foam. The other thing we did for condensation to try and get rid of was we got a couple of dehumidifiers. They're based on square footage. This one here I believe is rated for around 2,200 square feet, cubic feet I believe it was. And this is supposed to be good enough for our entire unit, but it was having a hard time with the bedroom and out here in the living room. So we left it in the living room, and then we picked up its little brother for just the bedroom. This is for, I believe, 700 cubic feet, and they're very easy to empty. This one here has got about a cup of water in it. So just pull that and you drain that out. It's the same for both units. They're very low wattage, so there's very minimal drain. They're very quiet. They're made by High Shore, and we'll put a link down below.
What we discovered, like Brent said, there was a whole bunch of water up in that ceiling, up in the skylight when he pulled the vent cover down. And actually I noticed the one in the little square one, I pulled it down out of the bedroom one day, and there was a fair bit of moisture up there too. So when I was speaking to someone in the park and they said, oh, it sounds like your trailer's not venting properly, I went, So
well, the thing with these vent covers, if you do put them in, make sure that your vent is open just a little bit to allow some airflow. Otherwise, whatever moisture is sealed between the vent and the cushion, that will be a sealed unit, and it's going to cause mold.
yeah.
So just have it cracked open just a little bit for some airflow at least, even if you're trying to seal out the cold air.
So every now and again, we just, we crack the windows, and we find too when there's those laundry items that don't go in the dryer and they hang on the drying rack. So then I noticed that the windows tend to fog up too. The other thing we did to keep the moisture or the warmth in is Brent put up some plastic on some of the windows.
Basically like a cellophane window sealant for older homes, I guess you could say, that don't have double pane windows. It basically just covers the entire window, and you hit it with a blow dryer or a heat gun, and it shrinks into place to take out any wrinkles. It works fairly well until you need to open one of the windows.
Yeah.
So what I've done is basically sealed all of the top windows, and where there is a vent, we have not done that part.
So we did the entire back window has been sealed off, and that's made a huge difference because every morning I would have to squeegee that window, and then Brent just did the top of did the top of this window, so there's just a little barrier in there just to try to keep outside and keep us warm inside.
One of the final things that we're doing to combat this moisture buildup, in the bottom of the pantry we've noticed, well, that's where we keep all of our larger cooking pans. We've got some damp rid. Doesn't work very well. Basically large cooking pans, large fry pans, stuff like that. And this was one of the problem areas that had moisture buildup in the back. And right at the edge of the slide at the back, there was an angled piece of wood screwed into the floor and wall. That was basically to protect the electrical cords that run to the fireplace or the stove or fridge that runs back and forth right along the bottom corner. What we've done is gotten this sliding rack. It's a 17 by 18 inch, 4 feet deep. That's basically going to sit straight in there, and it's going to be on a roller system. And we'll show you the install on another video. And this should take care of a lot of problems, so we don't have to worry about any of our pots and pans sitting in water and having to scrub them off before we use them to cook.
It's a little blustery and wintry out there tonight, so we're just kind of listening to the wind, and we can hear all the little needles from the pine trees that are on top of the roof, sort of moving their way across the top of the trailer and the slides. Or potentially it could be rain I'm hearing hitting the top of the roof. I still have to take the dogs out for a walk, which could be a little bit on the interesting side. But I think I might do up the dishes before we lose power. So, we'll see how the night fares out.
We have a generator.
Oh yes, we do have a generator, don't we, Brent? What a difference a day makes. So last night was super windy, and we're going to check out the damage in the park. My car here was just parked overnight. Brent had it out yesterday, and it's just covered in the pine needles from the trees. So I imagine that the top of the trailer is just looking nasty. So Brent has to go up there and give it a clean. Yeah, there's even needles stuck to the side of the trailer. So there's all kinds of needles and bits of trees that are strewn about. Who would have thought that after all the rain and wind, it's still a little windy. Yeah, it's a little windy out here still. Who would have thought that I would have needed sunglasses this morning? Wow. Yeah, we got the sun out. Got a few clouds in the distance. It's supposed to be raining again later on today. So we're off to a Canucks game tonight in Vancouver, which we're taking transit in. Parking's so expensive there. So we'll take transit, save some fuel, save the environment. Last night when I walked down this road in the dark, I couldn't tape it because you couldn't see it, but there was basically little bits of debris all over the place, and basically looks just like cars have sort of squished it. But there's a guy out there with a broom. I saw the one of the maintenance workers, I think, going around checking for collateral damage. So Wrigley's enjoying picking up all the sticks and pine cones that are on the ground. Wrigley, what was over there? Was there something over there? Huh? Did you hear something fall on the roof? Did you think it was inside? Wrigley heard a pine cone hit the top of the slide over by the stove in the fridge, and she went running over there just to look to see what was over there. She didn't realize it was outside.